Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Pill Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jeffrey, and here's my friend Kat, co-host. And today we're going to be talking about icebreakers. Now, icebreakers, for those that do Toastmasters like me, is the speech that you make when you first introduce yourself. It's the first speech that you make in a Toastmaster to just say, who am I and what am I about? But icebreakers also come into play when you're trying to introduce yourself in any circumstance. You're trying to meet someone romantically. And icebreakers apply to both boys and girls because both of us do need to break the ice. Otherwise, nothing happens. You got to break that ice to move the ball forward. But
all genders, we did a whole episode on gender fluidity. So it applies to everyone.
We're not judging here. We're just saying. And if you are romantic in any way, you could still be ace, but be romantic. This applies to you too, because romantic partners are definitely people that you need to break the ice with. But the question is, what is the approach? Well, one thing that we've already talked about in our Having Riz episode is having a smile, showing that you're welcoming, showing that you want to be there, and that you have some confidence, as we've mentioned in the Riz episode. These things are step one in terms of getting your foot in the door. But also reading the room, something we talked about a bit in Enthusiastic Consent, that you got to know if someone isn't interested in being talked to, respect that. If they're busy doing their workout, respect that. If they're done with their workout and they're looking like they're open to a conversation, okay, but do respect that someone still may not want to talk. Those things happen, and be willing to accept that you may fail. It's okay to fail because there are plenty of fish. You just got to accept there's no scarcity mentality. You got to be ready to move on. And that's really important with the approach.
Here's the other thing. Pickup lines are not a good idea anymore. We are not living in 1978. Get rid of the pickup lines.
Right.
Because it's just throw the script away. If you have one, lose it. And it's going to backfire. It's eventually going to backfire.
Of course.
This is a bunch of years ago, but there I am, and I'm in Washington Square Park, and some cute guy comes up and he's trying to chat me up, and he gives me it's very well rehearsed, but it's a line about how it's not a line, but he finds me very attractive and he'd really like to get to know me, and it's not a line. And I talked to him for a few minutes, but I do not give him my phone number and I move on with my life. And 6 months later, I'm back in Washington Square Park. I see the exact same guy. I remembered his face. He clearly did not remember mine, because he came up to me with the exact same line that in part of the speech was how it wasn't a line. And I sat there and I listened to him like, uh-huh, 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 my guy. You don't remember, but we did this. You did this with me 6 months ago. So if you're doing a line about how this isn't a line, you need to have a better memory about who you've done this with, because you've just lost all your credibility with your whole "it's not a line" thing.
Right.
So we're not living in 1978. Throw out the script.
And I will say, very simple. You know what your first word should be? Hi.
Yeah.
Just say hi. Sometimes things may be a little awkward. Sometimes you're nervous, and you got to accept that you might be nervous. But if things are gelling, conversation will come.
I dated a guy once for 2 years who the first words out of his mouth to me were "good boots."
Oof.
He looked me up and down, and he told me later that he was just going to figure out something to say that other people that I hadn't heard 400 times. And he looked me up and down and went, "Boots. She's got great boots." And he just, complimented the boots and thank you. And that's something you can do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, complimenting clothing and all of that kind of stuff, it is brilliant. It is a great way of showing that you're noticing not just the person, but what is important to them, because clothing is important to people. I mean, what I wear, this shirt, I like the shirt, even though it's missing a button. And if you compliment the shirt because you like my yellow shirt, then I'm going to notice you because you've complimented my yellow shirt, and I'm very proud of the fact that you did.
Well, we also did a whole other thing in our Riz episode, or in our Finding Your Tribe episode, I think, on like if someone's wearing a fandom t-shirt or a band t-shirt, or that's a place to start. And I think honestly that might even be a little bit better than you have pretty eyes. It's, dude, I love that band. So that could also be a better thing that you could go with.
Absolutely. It's all about just showing that you're noticing not just looks, not just what they're drinking. It's a question of drilling deeper into trying to connect. And that's it. I will say that a lot of times when I'm going to one of the dating programs, I'm not just looking at the pictures. I'm reading their profiles. I'm reading everything. And I'm seeing what is there that might be common between us and mentioning that. And that goes for online, but it also goes potentially for in-person relationships. I mean, just notice something about that person and compliment it. Compliments, by the way, we've already mentioned, compliments do go a long way in terms of breaking the ice and getting somewhere, because everyone likes a compliment. And I can tell you that there's guys that so rarely receive a compliment that they will remember for the rest of their lives that you paid them a compliment. Now, don't be silly about it, but obviously be aware that it goes a long way.
I think it's also a case of attention. Attention must be paid. And it's when you do that, it's going to go a long way. It's going to go a long way, and people are going to notice that.
Yep. And showing that you're there, you're enjoying yourself, you're in the vibe, you're having confidence, you're basically willing to accept rejection, but not assuming that you're going to accept rejection. That is the thing. You need to have the confidence that it might work, but willingness to accept it might not. And that confidence goes to the perfect way that you can just bring yourself your A game.
Absolutely. Anything else? I mean, really, it's all about reading the room.
It's all about reading the room, and it's all about just understanding that sometimes you just gotta go and gotta go and gotta go, but eventually you will find someone who is into you, and just let it flow and be
And
open.
don't push. If it's
Don't
not
push.
working, it's not working, and accept
Right.
that and move on.
Yeah, don't waste a person's time. Don't go on and on and on. If that person isn't into you, move on.
You'll know.
As we've said before, plenty of fish, and there's nothing wrong with just moving on. Don't have that scarcity mentality that this is the only one. No, it is, that person is not the only one. There are others. There are many others that will find the diamond in you. And that's all we're saying. Just try, have confidence, believe in yourself, and you can go a long way.
It's not about a notch on your gun. Okay. You can just say, okay, this one is not the right one, and walk away.
Right. It's not,
And
yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not about racking them up. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about
you're
is,
not counting coup.
yeah, we're talking just about rolling with the punches. That's what we're talking about. Roll with the punches and get her done. That's it. That's how you break the ice.